Good morning, everyone. It is Thanksgiving Day, and like every other year in my entire life, it has no meaning. But this morning I woke up to watch Philosophical Gamer, which is quickly becoming one of my favorite YouTube channels because I don't know where this guy finds the inspiration to do these videos because I go out there and I search the internet for new ideas, and this guy seems to be able to put it together with really good graphics and do things that I can't imagine would be without taking up a lot of time editing his videos. I don't do that. My channel's based around my voice, and that's it. But I was watching this guy, and I'm only 5 minutes into the video, and I'm like, this guy gets it. We were put on planet Earth in order to be slaves. Planet Earth has always been a slave planet for only one species, humans. And humans are very good at exploiting other humans. And somehow, as he goes on and says many times in this video, we guilt people into believing that no one deserves anything for free, while the elite class doesn't work like the lower class does. The elite class does a great job of shaming you for not having a job. They're trying to shame us for not having more children. Everything about being at the bottom is humiliating and shameful. Wearing a uniform in retail with a name tag is humiliating because that's how you know that your existence is completely worthless. You're wearing the outfit of a corporation against your will, right? No, none of us want to work. There isn't a single person at the bottom. And I said this yesterday that wants to work. And yet we're made to feel inadequate. We're made to feel like it's our fault when we fail at life because we can't afford anything. We can't afford food. We can't afford rent. We can't afford to be in a relationship. All we can do is afford to go to that pathetic, miserable existence of being at work, especially on a major holiday like Thanksgiving. And as a person who's had to work most Thanksgivings of my entire life, I'll tell you, there's nothing that makes you feel more humiliated than being a person that has to serve other people on Thanksgiving. It takes your humanity and it takes a giant dump on you. And that's what being alive and being poor is constantly having society take a dump in your mouth and you have to pretend that you're okay with it. Because the moment that you decide to question whether or not you want to continue doing this, then suddenly you are you're nothing. And I've been questioning this my entire life. And he asked this question many times. It's like I didn't ask to be born. I didn't want to be born. If you ask me right now if I could be removed from society, if I was never born, that would be the best decision that could ever be made. Because I didn't want to be born into poverty. I don't know what my stupid mom was thinking when she got pregnant, or probably wasn't thinking. I mean, when you're 15 years old and you're going to subject a person to 65 years of hard labor because you got horny, that's really what it comes down to. And you decided to be careless. And now you create a person who has to spend the rest of their lives as a slave at the bottom with nothing, with a ration of food every day, with a crappy job they can't stand, with sadistic management and rich people that have no understanding of what it's like to live in crippling poverty and depression. That's what you get. And so I took the transcript from this particular video, as I always do. You guys can read the story, it's in the descriptions, the story. And this is what it pumped out for my introductory monologue. You ever feel like you were brought here just to struggle? Like you didn't even ask to be born, but somehow you're supposed to pay for the privilege of existing. Yeah, me too. Let's talk about it. So it goes on to highlight every reason why we shouldn't be here working for a system that absolutely hates us. And here are my three talking points. Society pressures people to have more children, framing it as a duty to sustain the economy. But once you're born, that same system often treats you as a tool for labor, not as a human with inherent worth. If society is asking us to exist for its benefit, doesn't it bear responsibility to provide the basic needs like housing, food, healthcare for those it demands? I'm not sure why it wrote that, but I completely agree. And as he goes on to say in this video, there's plenty of housing, there's plenty of food, there's plenty of resources on planet Earth. But no, you're not allowed to have anything for free. You have to be you have to be a tool, and you have to be exploited to the nth degree. And as labor, because remember, I've always called human beings, I don't consider human beings to be human beings. If you're not rich, you're not a human being. You are labor. Not, you don't get to enjoy your life. Chances are you're not going to have a relationship. And you only exist to labor. And when you're laboring on holidays, it makes you feel even worse because now you're laboring while the other classes of people above you get to enjoy, in a way, sadistically, the fact that you have to be wearing that uniform today and that you were born to serve. In fact, when I worked at Walmart, there was one day that this angry old man came into the store and he looked at me and he said, "You're here to serve me. That's the only reason you exist. You're in this store right now wearing that uniform because you're here to serve me." And I looked at him and I said, "Excuse me?" And he's like, "You heard me. You serve me while you're wearing that uniform." Oh my God, I just wanted to take this old man out in the parking lot and beat the crap out of him. But guess what? For some reason, the proletariat is still somehow civilized. Because in an uncivilized society, we would have done something about this situation for the proletariat. We would have risen up, we would have taken what is ours. We would have taken a revenge on society by now. Because treating people like this, forcing them into survival mode for 65 years, to me, that sounds like the opening line of a movie where I've got a pitchfork in some billionaire's rear end. Because that's not the story I see of human beings. I see human beings coming to the end of the line. The 99% are going to have to do something about their situation. Because if they're not going to treat you like a human being, why are we acting like human beings? They don't want to give us any of the benefit of the doubt of our situation. They just want us to put our heads down and accept the fact that we're worth nothing and we're paid nothing. We are the subclass of human beings. If you were to ask a rich person about a person wearing a uniform right now, they would tell you that they don't understand why. Why do they keep coming back to a job they hate? Why do they keep living in an apartment full of cockroaches? Why are they not able to afford to eat every day? Because you won't pay them. Because you don't give them the rights to live a comfortable life. You won't pay them that way. You won't treat them that way. You won't see them that way. And whose fault is that? It's the policymakers and the rich that have done this to the 99%. And they don't care. They are not interested in moving society forward because society is for human beings. What we are as the proletariat isn't human. We're strictly a laboring force to be exploited. Talking point number two. The government and corporations depend on new generations to fuel their profits, but fail to create systems where people can thrive. Instead, they exploit the workforce. Excuse me. Instead, they exploit the workforce with low wages, poor conditions, while expecting gratitude for mere survival. This cycle is clear. Society needs you to exist to feed its economic machine, but it offers little in return except struggle. Is that fair or sustainable? Has life ever been fair to poor people? No. All I have to do is walk out my front door, and I'm going to see a homeless person out there living as a feral American. No home, no food, no future. In that, those things have been extended to the working poor. No food, no future, no possibility that you will have any comfort for 65 years. Instead, all you do is exist. And you exist in order to feed a machine that sees you as just fuel. Labor to fuel billions of dollars worth of industry while you sit in the dark like I am right now in a filthy, tiny little box. This isn't living. I'm not alive. In fact, I yelled at someone for quite a while because I was very, very angry last night after I got three sheets to the wind. I hadn't even seen this video last night, and I was already thinking all of these things. And this is one of those people. One of those people I absolutely hate that doesn't question existence, that doesn't question why things are like this. She just tells me to keep a positive attitude and good things will happen to you. And I'm like, are you serious? Do you really believe that? Or are you just stupid? And once I started going down that line, oh, it was on like Donkey Kong. She, she and I fought back and forth for, I would say, an hour and a half over text message. And then the yelling started on the phone because I can't stand the way that things are. And she's dirt poor. If I'm poor, she's dirt poor. She's eating dirt outside on the ground poor. And she's going back to visit her parents that are even more poor than she is back on the East Coast. That's where she was last night. That's where she got off the airplane and then she messaged me. And I just wasn't having it. I just unloaded every four-letter word that you can imagine on this person because I was lit and I was angry. And I just couldn't deal with it anymore. I've been sitting here in this cage with nothing to do now for what is it, 9 days straight. And it's just been building inside of me minute after minute here. There's no money for vacations. There's no money to do anything. There's nothing except to sit here like a robot that's been shut off and put in a shoebox. That's all I am. That's all I've been doing here. And believe me, once I got lit enough, I I would hate to be on the receiving end of that. And I told her to leave me alone for the rest of my life. And she got super butthurt. But that's just the way it is with people. When people don't understand this, the anger that some of us have at society right now, the just flaming anger, like breaking stuff anger at a society that's so broken and people won't rise up. I don't understand why stupid people accept this other than they just don't know. They're just like, oh, things will get better. The economy's going to get better. Food prices are going to go down. No, they're not. Stop thinking stupid thoughts and look around you. Look around the people that you need to blame because they live right over there in those huge effing houses. Those are the people you need to blame for your living like this. This isn't an accident This is intentional. And until you get mad enough to get off your rear end and go do something about it, those people are going to keep laughing at you while you wear your stupid uniform and name tag because they're counting on you to do nothing. And when you do nothing, their profits keep going up. And guess what? When there's a direct correlation between rich people making more money and poor people not having a pot to piss in. Talking point number 3. Why is it considered selfish to question the idea of working just to survive when we didn't choose to be born? The resources needed for life, food, water, housing, exist in abundance. So why are they withheld unless we labor for them? Why is our value tied solely to productivity rather than humanity? Because you're not human. You do not get a human card until you're rich. Until you're rich, you're not you're not allowed to be part of that system. You're not allowed to be comfortable. You're not allowed to rest. You're not allowed to go on vacation. You're not even allowed to have a real job. You have a child sized paycheck for a person that's going to be treated like all you need in life is a Happy Meal toy to be happy. You're giving the least amount of resources, the least amount of food, the least amount of water, and the least amount of housing. Why? Because they know they can get away with it. Why else would they do that to you? Because they know that human beings have been domesticated for the purpose of not being real people. There's a reason why we call you she people, the sheep people, because the domestication process on planet Earth has been a success story since it began. And human beings, the lower class, the labor of the world, will never rise up regardless of how bad you're treated. It's like as long as you're not being tortured every single day, which I beg to differ, that work every single day is a form of cruel and unusual punishment. When you go to work every single day and you don't make enough money to survive, I think it's a joke. It is cruel. When you have to sit at home in the dark waiting for work to start again, and that's what they call your vacation, it's cruel. When you don't have enough money to eat every day, it's cruel. When you have to go to work every single day because if you miss a day, then you're not going to be able to pay your bills. It's cruel. So, what really is out there for the proletariat? Nothing. Not a god beep thing. And yet here we are having this conversation. How many times now? 250 videos in? That's a lot of times where I've told you that you're screwed and you refuse to listen. I don't understand why you don't listen. Maybe you're one of those people that can't learn. Maybe you're untrainable. Maybe you simply don't care because you still don't believe me. You still have this fantasy that you're free and that you're not in the work release program. Maybe you tell yourself that every single day so you can sleep at night, so you don't have nightmares and panic attacks and suffer from extreme depression. But I'll leave you with this in toxic positivity: born to serve, no, born to live. I wasn't put on planet Earth to serve the rich. I was born on planet Earth to live. And I want to live. I want to stop existing. I want to live. I want to travel. I want to have money. I don't want to go to work. And I'm not going to allow anyone to shame me into believing that work is a requirement of existence because we weren't put on earth to serve the rich.